I've got big breaking news coming in that the Indian government has announced that they will be buying 12 new Sukhoi 30 Mk1s and 21 new MiG-29 fighter aircraft for strengthening the Indian Air Force. This is being done under emergency purchase and will be actioned as quickly as is possible. This is a defense project worth 5,000 crore rupees. We've got high-level inputs to say that massive new emergency augmentation of the Indian Air Force is being carried out. Joining me on this special broadcast, two of my colleagues who track the Indian Army and the Indian Defence Services like absolutely no one else does. Gaurav Sawant is reporting this evening live from 14 Corps in Leh. Shivarur joins us. Gaurav, explain the significance of Sukhoi 30 MKI and the MiG-29. Why have these two fighter aircraft been chosen for emergency purchase? What information do you have about this, and how are these so crucial for the Indian Air Force at a time of an intense build-up with the Chinese Army? Gaurav.
Rahul, the Sukhoi 30 MKI is the most potent weapon platform. It's the largest weapon platform. It can carry up to 10 tons of weapons underslung, and that's what makes it one of the most potent weapon platforms. That's point one. Point two, it can fire the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, and together they make a very lethal combination. They've recently also been placed at Thanjavur, to protect the Indian Ocean region. When more of those aircraft are deployed in the east and the north, it protects India's skies. It's a huge force multiplier. The MiG-29 is an air superiority fighter, again extremely potent and required for these altitudes. Now they will come in quicker. They will also augment, Rahul, the two squadrons, of course, extremely expensive, of the Rafales. One that will be placed in the northeast and the other that will be placed for the line of control in the west. So that is where the Rafales will be your sword arm or your strike arm. The Sukhois will be your strike force, your most potent weapon platform, Rahul.
All of his time studying defense weapon systems. Shiv, compare the Sukhoi 30 MKI 4th generation fighter aircraft with what the Chinese have. My understanding is that the Sukhoi 30 is better as a fighting platform than anything the Chinese Air Force has. Explain that to our viewership.
Gaurav, Rahul, the Su-30 is an extremely advanced fighter aircraft, and this breaking story about emergency procurements going through on this is going to be very good news for the Indian Air Force. What I can tell you is that the Chinese Air Force has, first of all, it has a much larger number of fighter aircraft, and they've built many more air bases. But in terms of comparing the two sides, the Chinese have actually managed to, because the Chinese have stolen, engineering plans from Russia and the US for years. So they've actually reverse engineered Su-30s. So they've got their own version of the Su-30. They've got 5th generation fighter aircraft, which are entering service now. India is going to be getting the first of the few Rafales next month. But it's difficult to actually make a direct comparison. But if you look at the air bases, the deployment of air assets by both India and China, it very much looks like air power is going to be a very big domain if, God forbid, there is a large-scale escalation of hostilities between both countries. Both countries recognize that the use of air assets will be a very big element in any fight that actually breaks out. It's not just going to be about armor and artillery on the ground. It's very much going to be about air power, and that's why this procurement has a great deal of significance as well.
Manjeet Negi joins us. Manjeet Negi covers defense and the army for Aaj Tak. He's really clued in very sharply. Manjeet, this is also a very strong signal we are sending to China and to the rest of the world, because we haven't gone in for assault rifles just immediately. We've gone straight to the Indian Air Force, and what the Prime Minister showed when the Balakot airstrikes were ordered, push come to shove, if India is attacked, we will use every single weapon system in our arsenal to hit back at Pakistan or whatever the adversary may be, in this case China. Explain what your sources in the Ministry of Defence are telling you about the reason behind these emergency purchases.
Well, Rahul, this is a very significant move in this current situation, and the proposal has been moved to the Defence Acquisition Council, DAC, next week, and decide to project what crore crore of 5,000 crore for the strengthening Air Force to buy the Sukhoi Su-30 and the MiG-29. And this will be the second 33 new aircraft to be contracted for the Air Force, including 36 Rafale already signed in last year. And the Air Force has also proposed to buy the entire lot of associated equipment like missiles and other equipment for these planes.
No, so any ideas yet, Manjeet, about how long it will take for these fighter aircraft to be brought in? This is a big story. We're breaking it first here on India Today. Manjeet Negi reporting the story of 12 new Sukhoi 30 MKI. The I in MKI stands for India. This is a Russian aircraft created specifically for India. In fact, there were some very interesting new additions to the weapon configuration of the Sukhoi 30 MKI, which gives it a platform advantage over everything Pakistan has and the Chinese Air Force have. Why don't you, Shiv, explain to our viewers why the Sukhoi 30 MKI is by far the best fourth generation fighter aircraft, and in a dogfight with even the F-16 that the United States Air Force has is in use by air forces worldwide, it could give them a run for its money and possibly even take it down.
Rahul, the Su-30 is an air dominance fighter, so it's not just about tactical airspace and within visual range air combat. It's about beyond visual range air combat. The Su-30 is armed with weaponry that allows pilots to engage enemy aircraft and targets on the ground from very vast standoff distances, and that's why it's one of the most capable aircraft. It's got electronic warfare systems that make it an extremely formidable aircraft that isn't easy to handle in a long distance situation. It's also engineered to be highly maneuverable, so even if the enemy gets quite up close, the Su-30, even though it's a really big fat jet compared to others and makes a large signature on radars, nevertheless its maneuverability, its extreme agility in the air makes it a very formidable aircraft to go up against even in close combat situations. India is actually the largest operator of Su-30 MKIs, as you rightly pointed out, Rahul. We already have over 270, many of which have been licensed built by HAL. So these additional 12 will also be built by HAL in Maharashtra, and the delivery of these aircraft will begin just 1 year after contract signing, because the factory is already ready. They've already been building these aircraft and they've been waiting to deliver them. The MiG-29s, which will be built in a place called Lukhovitsy near Moscow, the shells of these aircraft are already ready. Once the contract is signed, it's just for the MiG company to put all of these aircraft together, bring them up to that MiG-29 upgrade standard with standoff weapons, and then deliver them. So about 18 months for the first delivery of a MiG-29 is what I'm hearing. And those are very small delivery numbers in terms of time scale, Rahul, as you probably know, given India's long tradition of waiting endlessly for stuff that it has ordered. So this was in the pipeline, and the current tensions have definitely speeded things along, catalyzed a decision, and and forced the MOD to make a decision. Absolutely, sort of step on the gas, as it were, in speeding these crucial acquisitions along.
It's not all. Amidst this border bloodshed, India has achieved another weapon milestone. A crucial missile has been cleared for combat missions. The air-launched BrahMos is now ready for operations. The Indian Air Force can fly fighter jets with the BrahMos now in combat. Here's another India Today exclusive.
As the mountain of blood simmers, as a volatile situation sits on a hair trigger following treacherous bloodletting by Chinese troops, as India hunkers down to decide on how to respond. A major milestone in the country's combat capabilities. Amid simmering tensions with China at the border, a crucial Indian weapon system has been cleared for combat, and it's the one you're looking at, the BrahMos air-launched cruise missile. India today has learned that the BrahMos A, a 300-kilometer range supersonic cruise missile, has received what is called fleet release clearance, paving the way for the Indian Air Force squadrons to use the missile during combat missions if necessary. In other words, the BrahMos A is now fully operational and war ready. The Sukhoi 30 MKI fighter aircraft was inducted at the Thanjavur IAF Air Base, equipped with BrahMos supersonic cruise missile in January. And now, if the country's leadership chooses, these missiles can be wielded in battle. The missile cleared is the air-launched version of the BrahMos, seen here in action in its land-launched and ship-launched versions, a weapon that travels at blinding speed and devastating accuracy. As tensions brew on the border, as politics simmers of the betrayal and killing of unarmed Indian men, the country's war arsenal welcomes a new weapon. With Shivarur, Bureau Report, India Today.
So remember, the BrahMos is a medium-range supersonic cruise missile and can be used whether it's from a Navy ship, whether this is from land, and now we have the ability, Gaurav Sawant, to be able to launch a BrahMos from the air as well. And can you explain to our viewers why a BrahMos missile launched from a fighter aircraft can be so devastating and the kind of capacity augmentation this does for the Indian Air Force?
Rahul, this is truly a game changer as far as the Indian Air Force is concerned, and that is why BrahMos with Sukhoi 30 put at Thanjavur. Why Thanjavur? Because the entire Indian Ocean region, our area of responsibility as we call it, that region can be covered with this. Sukhoi with the mid-air refuelers has an unlimited range. Indian Air Force has flown Sukhois for up to 11 hours non-stop with mid-air refueling. Then it has a missile that can hit a target at supersonic speeds 300 kilometers away, and 300 kilometers is just the initial missile. You also have an upgraded BrahMos, 450 kilometers, that's been tested in 2017. There's another version which will hit a target 600 kilometers away. So that's the kind of weapon system that India is looking at. A Sukhoi 30 MKI gives you huge range, plus the missile that can hit a target as of now 300 kilometers away, soon 600 kilometers away. The enemy would really not need to beware. So these are really beyond visual range missiles, not the usual 100 kilometer BVR, but 300 and subsequently hopefully 600 kilometers away.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.